Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Will from WC Review. I hope that you're all doing well on this wonderful Sunday. Today is a very strange day for me, and I will get into it in some detail. But first, I just wanted to say thank you, a very special thank you to Scab from Choir Boys Outdoors. If you've not seen his site, you definitely got to check it out. He is a fixed blade guy, and I'm a big fan of his, and I kind of comment on his channel a lot. So he thought enough of me to send me the knife that you see before you to sort of look over and offer my 2 cents. And I certainly have 2 cents and then some to offer on this, but it's a beautiful knife. It's made by CARNIVORA tool, and I'm going to go over it. But before I do, Scab has, his name is Scott, but we all call him Scab, so he's Scab. He has an intro on his video, and it has to do with 22 a day, which is the number of United States servicemen that take their own lives in this country, which is a disgraceful number. 22 human beings that serve our country take their own lives each and every day, and that's an average. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. He's a big proponent of that cause, and I always have been too. I don't really talk about it very much, but I participate in a project called the Till Valhalla Project. It's TIL Valhalla, VALHALLA.com. I've bought apparel from them, and I get the word out when I can. And I don't really talk about my personal life very much, but my son's a United States Marine. And I don't know if you heard the news, but 3 Marines were killed today in Australia. That's exactly where my son is. And it was his unit where it happened. And had he not broken his nose in jiu-jitsu, he would have been on that bird that crashed. So just a special thanks and lots of love sent out to my son. God bless you, and God rest the souls of those Marines that were lost. I just wanted to get that out there. So, say a special prayer for our service members today. But back to the knife. He asked me to talk about it a little bit. I think it's a great knife. There's things about it that I really love, and there's a couple of things about it that I think could be improved. So basically, the knife is about 8 1/8 inches overall, which to me is a perfect fixed blade carry size. I like the hilt, or the scabbard, if you will. It protects your hands from going forward on the blade. I have some pretty big hands. There is a lanyard here that if you kind of hook your pinky into it, that'll give you the thrusting force and to not drop the knife. And that's one of the points I'm going to get into in a moment. But let's just go over the specs. I took out my calipers. Scab was right. The knife is a little bigger than a 1/4 inch. It's about 0.265 thick. It's 80 CRV2 steel. I don't know how great that is, but listen, if you'll watch his video, go to Choir Boys Outdoors, and you'll see this knife is called the Mighty Mouse, again, by Carnivora Tools. And the person who made it is Tim Ellis. This is a Tim Ellis knife. I happen to really like the jimping up here. Again, it wants me to, there's a choil that went there. A choil that went there would be really helpful. But since there's not one, you can still choke up on the knife. And old Scab put this knife through the paces. So you'll see that too if you watch his video. Again, it's the Mighty Mouse. The handle, I would assume this is a G10 material. This is an area where I think improvement can be made. Everybody always holds their knives in the hands like that, and they say, yeah, this is a great knife, right? And it fits in the hand good, and it does. But when you go to cut something, you don't go to cut something like that. And I have an analogy here that I think is pretty good. I'm a drummer, so here's a drumstick, right? When you play the drums, you use these fingers. That's called the fulcrum, right? And then you have these 3 fingers that wrap around, and that's how you control the drumstick. I find that you do a lot of the same things with a knife. When you go to cut, you have your fulcrum here, and then you go to wrap your fingers around. Now, if you see this area right here, that's good. I'd like to see it maybe a little deeper and maybe a little bit larger. There's a palm swell here, which is excellent. It fits well in your hand. But when you go to cut, these three fingers wrap around. And that's really where a lot of your control comes from, right? Like the drumstick, you're gonna be pulling. Right here is where you're going to be pulling when you cut. And obviously when you push, you kind of need this little lanyard here or something that helps you with the forward thrusting. Now, the smoothness of this blade, of this handle, is my biggest complaint. Because if you're working, let's just say you're dressing an animal. I don't know if you've ever had blood on your hands, but blood is extremely slippery. You could very quite easily lose the knife, either in the animal or in whatever you're cutting. If there's a wet environment, this could use some checking or some kind of a gripping mechanism or material to make it more grippy in your hand. It's almost slipped out of my hands a few times in a dry environment. So I've not tested it in a wet one, but one of your first instincts when you drop something is to try to catch it. And if you drop this and try to catch it, boy, you could be in a world of hurt. Quick story, when I was a kid, I dropped a kitchen knife at the table, and my instinct was to catch it between my knees, and I stabbed the shit out of myself. So, again, that's an area of improvement. I think possibly the material that you use or adding some checking would make it a far greater grip of a knife. But all in all, I like the knife. I would use it. I would carry it. You all know I like thick knives, and boy, this is a fat boy. Again, 0.265 is what I came up with on my calipers, and it's pretty big behind the edge as well. Some people call it a sharpened pry bar, which is no problem for me. But again, let's just say you're cutting an apple. You're going to split that apple more than you're going to cut it. Yes, it's extremely sharp, and it will absolutely penetrate whatever you're cutting, but the geometry of the blade is so thick behind the edge that it's going to more split what you're cutting than it's going to slice or cut it. That's just the nature of a blade like this, which, quite frankly, I'm okay with. But again, thinner is slicey, right? Thicker is more of a chopping and a splitting type of blade. So again, I just wanted to give my 2 cents. Again, I can't thank you enough, Scab, for sending me the knife. I'm flattered. I'm honored. Just wanted to go over it, offer my 25 cents of advice and thoughts. I think I will definitely be getting myself one of these. And maybe I could see, I would also be flattered and honored if they took what I'm saying to heart and possibly put some gripping materials on this handle. I don't really have much else to say. Again, God bless the United States of America, and God bless our Marine Corps. And, to Scab's point, it sickens me that they can make room in certain facilities for people who aren't even supposed to be in this country, yet they let our veterans sleep on the sidewalk out front. That's something that needs to change in this country. But I don't want to get all political. That's just my 2 cents on that. So that's all. So thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. And again, Scab, thanks for the knife, brother. Talk to you soon.